Welcome to Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio. Tonight, Blazar returns for yet another game night. The Beanied one is off slumbering in Arizona, is unable to join us. I'm joined by the babyface Theowalski.
Babyface.
And as always, Lion's Mane, Jason Belidio.
How's it going, guys? How's it going? How you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm a little tripped out by this new camera. Like, it's so backed off from you. Like, before it was just so up close in your face.
Yeah. Now you can actually, see this small little dude next to this couch.
You kind of fit on the couch now rather than just the floating head.
Right? He actually does fit on the couch.
You need to animate,
guys. Welcome to the couch.
Hiker.
Blazar, welcome again. Welcome back to this familiar couch. It's a new couch, by the way. Just letting you know.
I was gonna say we didn't have the couch for last week, did we, Jason? Or did we?
We did have the couch last week.
It was, but it was very like
it was on and off.
It was on and off.
Yeah, it was. So, Jared, how was your holiday?
It was good, man. Got to hang out in quarantine with my family.
Nice.
No, it was good, man. It was like it was Harper's like third birthday, so I think this is like the first Christmas she remembered. We bought her a drum set and she kind of like flipped out. And she's just watched Trolls 2, so she's like ready to rock and blah, 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 blah.
So what's her birthday?
Hers is the 17th.
17th. Okay. Well, happy belated birthday from us.
Yeah, indeed.
So, it's about a week late, but hey, that's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Our whole family. I'm the 28th and my wife's the 26th. We're all like,
oof, yeah.
You know what? My wife's the 23rd. So
I'm the 14th. So we're all right there. Sagittarius party, baby.
You're all just that close to Christmas, where everyone's like, here we're gonna combine your gifts. Here you go.
Oh, it's worse. Like growing up, it was happy birthday, Christmas, New Year, right? Every year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things. I look at it and it's just like, I'm like the 22nd of February, so I'm just like that close enough to where like sometimes I don't get good stuff, and then sometimes they don't at all. So well, I
think 2 months is a good enough buffer.
You know what? It's just close enough. Hey, and you know what? I want to do a quick shout out since we're talking about birthdays. The Real Nanaki has joined us in chat, and he just mentioned his birthday was yesterday. So, Real Nanaki,
hey,
happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday, man.
Happy
belated birthday.
Man.
It's good seeing you joining the chat again there. Good, sir. Hope everything's going well for you.
Yes,
so,
hey, man, is this man Jesus? I mean, like,
Capricorns unite.
I'll keep swimming in the pool with the Pisces. So, Jason, Theo, how was your guys' holiday?
Theo, go for it, man.
Okay.
Sir.
Mine was pretty good. We kept it pretty simple. We definitely did gifts this year. We haven't for a couple of years. And obviously we were not overly anticipating it because we waited until about 5 p.m. on Christmas to open anything.
That's
wow.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's still
At least it wasn't today.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you, Jason?
It wasn't too bad. We had the midnight with my in-laws, and then the afternoon with my family.
Midnight.
Yeah, where you go from like 24th to 25th at midnight, and everybody opens presents and stuff.
Oh, you guys did that?
I don't know that.
What?
I've never
heard of that one.
Yeah, you wait till the like literally midnight, and it's
The
like
stroke of midnight, and
it's
you can
like
open
literally
presents.
Christmas, and you like start opening presents and stuff.
I mean, don't let kids know this. This is going to be happening all the time.
Well, this was
Right?
we actually made it to Christmas. Usually my wife and I open our presents like a week before because we're just awful with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the anticipation, man. Because then you're like, even as like when you're a kid, you're like, oh my god, it's almost Christmas, and then you're like.
But sometimes I'm kind of the opposite because I like if I give good gifts, I'm like, please open this. I just want to see you just be excited for this right now.
Yeah,
You
so
know, you can't argue with that though. I mean, you really
nah,
can't.
and then my cousins and I all had Secret Santas, which we like had delivered at different days, and we're supposed to do it today, like a little video call.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I got found out so hard because was going to work this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize that they had one of those like video cams for the porch. So I'm just like all like nonchalantly chilling, walking with the present, just putting it in the mailbox like at 1 a.m. And then they just text me like later in the day with the video of me just nonchalantly walking to the porch. And I was like, oh my god. Here I'm trying to be slick, and it's like, oh yeah, like who put that in there? And it's just like, here's a video of me that's 20 seconds long, like just me walking up, putting it in the mailbox.
So with all the
that's
new,
your application for UPS and USPS and FedEx, right? It's just like, this is how you do it.
So Jason, I got to ask you, how was Costco this week with all the new lockdowns you guys have?
We're supposed to have a 20% max capacity. So if it's 20, like,
where are you at?
In Southern California, Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're supposed to have a 20% capacity. So if it's like, let's say 100, you can only have 20 people inside. It's crazy because you don't realize how many people can come in at the very opening until they all start just like swarming
in. Jeez.
Did you go back to phase 1?
They're kind of like what it's kind of tier 2, like all outdoor dining is shut down.
We
indoor
have
dining
a curfew.
Is shut down.
We're supposed to have a curfew. We're supposed to be like only essential businesses, but it's like so limbo. Like people don't even know. Like it's hard to like keep up with it a little bit. Not gonna lie, like I'm terrible with that. I just go to work and come home. But yeah, like Costco, it's interesting because we had that huge rush like 2 days before Christmas, day before Christmas, and then we have the day after Christmas rush where the return line is super long.
Yeah. See, I went and did my grocery shopping like first thing when Target opened up this morning to beat that rush, and boy, I was glad I did. I was like, that was the quickest I've done grocery shopping in a good like 2 months. I was in and out. It was great. So before we move into catching up on the gaming news and whatnot really quick, Nanaki asked a question related to the PS5. A couple of us had PS5s on the podcast about the DualSense having issues. The only issue I heard of was charging in the very beginning. The ports on the PS5 weren't really charging the DualSense like when it was plugged in via the USB cable. That has been since patched to my knowledge, because I haven't had a problem at all with my DualSense controller charging off the USB port in rest mode at all. So
I haven't any issues with charging. Like lately, I feel like since the last update that I've had on the controller, I've had a little bit of latency on it, like noticeable latency when I'm playing, especially with Cold War. Like,
that's just Cold War though. I mean,
it might just be Cold War. It's just
Activision.
So far, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
But, I mean, no, I haven't really had any problems with the controller.
Yeah. So moving on. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Take-Two was looking to buy Codemasters. That was going to give them a very, very big stable of racing games and whatnot. It came out the week before, early last week, an article that EA is actually upstaging Take-Two and put in a bid for $1.2 billion.
Wow.
That's the insane. original offer was $971 million. Okay. So they're getting a little bit more money out of it. I hope for Codemasters' sake that they don't go the way of every other studio that gets bought up by EA, and they get loot boxes put in and they get chewed up and spit out. I mean, we know BioWare's kind of on its death's doorstep right now. Ever since EA bought them, they've kind of not produced great games. So speaking of BioWare, Casey and them on and 7 Day announced the trilogy and that a new Mass Effect was in the works. We now know there are several veterans coming back for the game specifically. So Derek Watts, who was the original art director for the entire trilogy, is back.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Brennan Holmes, who he worked on the entire Mass Effect trilogy, Dragon Age Origins and Inquisition. He's back for it. Parrish Lay, who is the cinematic director for the ME trilogy, he has specifically come back to bring his vision for the cinematics for this game. And then Dusty Everman is back, and he's one of the key personnel who designed the original Normandy.
Oh,
so we're getting like the real A team coming back for this. So I personally really hope and pray for BioWare's sake that the new Mass Effect hits on all cylinders, because
definitely.
if Dragon Age doesn't do well, which that one's in production right now, there's no date for it yet. This one's in the works, and an Anthem redesign. If any of that fails, we know it's. I mean, honestly, Anthem.
I mean, do we really have any hope for Anthem?
I mean, it could be.
It's BioWare. I hope. I really hope, because you got to look at Final Fantasy, right? Okay, yeah. So let's look at 11 versus 14, right? 11 was horrible. They reinvented it, redesigned it.
It was good for its time.
Jason, be honest.
It's still better than 10-2.
Yeah,
still better than Charlie's Angels.
But I mean, like, it was what?
Anything's
like
better than 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years ago.
Before the FF7.
What was that, Jared?
Not better than the remake. I'd play 10-2 over the FF7 remake for sure.
Ooh.
Dang. Shots fired.
Shots fired. Nanaki. Say something. Shots have been fired.
But I mean, like 14 was literally 11-2. And people were like, get this junk out of here. And then 14 was reborn. And now it's so great. So good. So good. I'm shocked you guys
are not biased. You're not biased about 14 at all.
Just not biased at all.
I mean,
just saying,
you hang out at 14 every year we go to E3.
Ah, sir,
you gotta get that shirt.
It's my people's there, man.
I mean, we talk about Matt's hours on Animal Crossing. I'm sure that's only like 1% to your hours on 14. So.
Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll definitely see what happens with BioWare, and I think honestly, if they do it right and EA stays out of the equation, especially now that Casey's gone, I think Anthem does have a chance. I do, because it had some really good bones to it. It had nothing else. I mean, honestly, I would compare it to like Destiny under Activision control.
That's fair.
I mean, Destiny kind of got very bland and very vanilla for a while there until they broke away from Activision. As soon
as they got bought up by Activision and released Destiny 2, OG was just dead, and then they broke ties, released Forsaken, and popped right back up.
Yeah, I think it's just definitely like they gotta let them do them, you know.
But I think that's part of their thing, though. Like I know I have a couple of friends. My ex-roommate works at EA, and he said that like part of their deal when they acquire people is like you have to agree to these like proprietary demands by them. They come in with like a clause like we will be loot boxing, we are doing microtransactions, we do have creative control. Like he told me that was like kind of baked in with all of their deals. So I don't know if that's like the same for this one, but
yeah, because you just gotta like let them go for a little bit. You do their thing. They had a vision of where they wanted it to go, you know, and you gotta let it go, because loot boxes, yes, they work in certain parts, but I mean, if you have a driving game, what are you gonna loot box? Like parts of the car? I kind of
wonder with EA's thing, like with that being the thing, if that's why they're really willing to give high bids for the companies, because they're just gonna be like, well, we're just gonna insert all this money making that you're not going to get any of anyways, because you're signing this agreement to loot box the hell out of it. We're just going to make our money back.
Yeah.
True. And
those old bad record deals where you got like $1 million up front and then you had like 5 years of recoup and all the bullshit that came along with it.
Jared, you would know that full well right there. I mean, speaking of bad contracts and stuff, I mean, as being part of the industry, everyone's been talking about it with some of the different stuff. But yeah, so let's talk about the KFC the console for a minute here. I'm gonna pull up a picture so everybody can actually see this in the flesh, because this is I can't believe it's actually a real thing. I think let's find a picture. This one actually from the Nerd Stash.
As soon as you bring it up, I want to preface that I actually kind of think that it looks better than the Xbox Series X.
I thought it looks way better than I thought. I thought it'd be red and white stripes, like some of the kernel on
Like
there.
I thought I was gonna have the kernel just plastered totally all over it.
All right, so this way, so everybody that's watching the
but
the
I
live stream
love
right now,
this the air
they can
fryer.
see this.
I
So
love that it's an air fryer.
it is.
That's amazing.
It has a coolant heating tray for your chicken, and then supposedly this thing is VR ready. It is supposed to be 240 frames per second on FPS on 4K. It is just looking at this thing though it's hilarious that they're actually doing this. But at its core, it is very much a PC.
Yeah.
It supposedly has some really good coolant on it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to keep that thing cool.
While you're heating your chicken, like it's one or the other, right?
Yeah. I still say, like, to Jared's point, like it should have been white and red stripe like the KFC bucket. That would have been like.
So
I don't know. Maybe the cooling isn't even that good. That's the purpose of the tray.
Right?
You're playing your game to cook your chicken
to overheat.
And once it's done, the game's crashed and you got your food. It's all set.
It's a perfect break time. Perfect break.
So here we go. So it's got ray tracing on it. And according to them, finger licking 4K display with 240 frames per second up to 240 hertz.
The MacBook Pro i9 in there, right? Like it's a serious processor in there.
Oh, it's got
an
Intel Core i9. It's got
it's one generation behind.
Yeah.
It's got an Asus Dual Mini GeForce RTX. Nobody knows if it's a 2070 or a 3080 or whatever. 32 gig of RAM. It's using twin Seagate Barracuda 1 terabyte SSD, so it's a 2 terabyte system, which is okay, I guess. I mean, you're not really going to be playing, be able to play anything else if you're running like Call of Duty and stuff like that. But here is their social media lead for over in the UK and stuff. And he's like, moving forward from our initial teaser campaign earlier this year, which everybody thought that was a joke, by the way. They thought it was just a PR stunt. It was right after the PS5 reveal. But they're actually so pleased to finally give fans exactly what they want, making the KFC console reality. I'm just going to pop this, this video up really quick so everyone can actually just, this is the video they actually put out for it, right?
Notice the Mustang was red and white striped. They got the Q there.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, it's like, this is KFC. I mean, granted, their marketing is great lately, but going on to read it, right? It's like, but we're very confident in the KFC console as our flagship entry. So that means they're going to be going the way of Xbox and coming out with something else. So are you going to be like, the next one's going to be like the KFC Philip console where it's like a little mini S type,
Jeez.
like the $5 boxes? I mean, it's like
developing games. Are they, I guess they don't understand why it's different than just a PC if they're not.
It's a mini PC that can warm your chicken.
Put your chicken in.
Yeah.
Wait, even in the video, it shows them having chicken in it.
Yeah. So I want to know how that thing's going to be able to be cleaned out.
I want to know how massive this thing is then.
It's got
to be at least the size of the Series X, maybe larger.
And like,
I don't know.
I was hoping it was going to be like pack size, like a Mac Mini type thing, maybe. It's like if you can get some power and something.
Real Nanaki says the chicken grease is the coolant.
Yes, absolutely. Just let it cool overnight and congeal. It just holds in all the heat, man.
I don't know. I think that's just
like, are they going to sell uncooked KFC chicken proprietary for the KFC console, or there'll be like a subscription box you like 10 pieces a month or something. Like,
what was it like? I
You
forget,
know what?
That would totally be a thing.
That would be a bad thing.
No, because like how there was that game where you can order Domino's Pizza Hut. I forget which game it was. Like just in game.
There was a game that you could order pizza from.
Was it like Ultima Online or?
I don't remember what it was, but it was a while back.
Like, yeah, you could just / order pizza and it would just order pizza for you.
That's amazing.
What?
Like I forget which game it is. Like
that should be a thing. Like CD Projekt Red, throw that into Cyberpunk, since you just go on the missions and just like swap by for some pizza delivery.
Okay,
hook it up.
Speaking of Cyberpunk, that's a good segue right there. So we know we talked about it last week because it broke right as we were recording last week. Is that Sony did remove Cyberpunk from the PlayStation Store, and there was an announcement that went out, and there's two different things I want to go over with you guys. And for our viewers, we'll go and put up the statement, right? This is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Following our discussion with PlayStation, a decision was made to temporarily suspend digital distribution on the store. You can still buy physical copies in brick and mortar online. Now, here's the funny part about this is even though they put this out and that you could go and try and get refunds from Sony, it came out that a lot of refunds were being told no and go talk to CD Projekt Red. So we'll see as far as that goes. This has really turned into a real big cluster.
Oh yeah.
I think the holy hand grenade from Worms has less devastation than what this has done. I mean, heck, we saw what the holy hand grenade can do in Ready Player One too. So
yes.
But
this is concrete donkey level for sure.
Concrete donkey. I mean, we might as well call in a mail strike while we're at it, Jared. God, now I need to play Worms. Thanks, Jared.
All right.
God, good old classic Worms, man. That goes Worms Armageddon.
Yeah,
classic. I would love a remake on that. But there was a tweet that came out this week from this magazine company called Pace. I've never heard of these guys, but they basically stated that I'll show it to you. It says Cyberpunk 2077's multiple failures sum up everything wrong with the video game industry. It's the game of the year in the same way Hitler was Time's man of the year.
Wow.
Bad choice of words, Paste, and they have gotten lit on Twitter for this.
As they should.
I mean, yes. Was there some very bad business decisions on the part of CD Projekt Red's management? But to compare it to Hitler, no.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I think the hate on CD Projekt Red really needs to ease up. Like, it needs
to ease up on the devs. It needs to ease up on the devs.
Agreed. Because I mean, the amount of flack that they got for delays and everything, like, if you're gonna ask for a release over and over and get it and complain about it, then you're in the wrong, in my opinion. To be perfectly honest, if you get what you asked for and
I mean,
you're upset about it, then that's your fault.
And like the big developers know that. Like Nintendo does that shit all the time, right? They're always a year behind when you expect the releases, just because they know. It's like you put out garbage products like this, it's like devastating to your.
Oh, definitely.
And to your point, Jared, right? Luigi's Mansion, right? That was originally supposed to come out right there, not too far after E3. They came out and said it's not ready.
Yeah.
We're just going to postpone it. We're not going to give you a date yet because we don't want to crunch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then they just waited, and then it came out when it did. And I think the problem with CD Projekt Red, though, is like I said last week when we were kind of talking about it very, very briefly, is I think their loans were coming due for their payments. And if they did not get this released, they weren't going to have the cash and capital to pay back on those loans. Because you know that when they went public 8 years ago at the same time they announced Cyberpunk, and it was The Witcher, the first DLC for it. They went public. So it's all about investors. All they care about is the bottom line, how much you make in them. And if you were going to miss, I mean, they budget all these companies budget things so closely around the releases of their games that, I mean, honestly, it's like, Jared, I think with the music industry, it's probably something similar where studios probably bank around certain artists late, their CDs launching and expecting a certain dollar amount to come from them.
I mean, we'd like to work on songs for like weeks and months on end and make them right. The label wants them like in a day, right, for their release, and they don't give a shit if it's, it's exactly the same kind of a thing. And I think it reminds me a lot of like the No Man's Sky launch. Like I've been playing that game for like I feel like a decade now, and it's finally now what they like promised originally, and they just kept. It just feels like that kind of same thing all over again.
Yeah,
exactly. I think, but this is to a whole new level though with No Man's Sky though. I think with this is CD Projekt Red knew it was straight broke.
Yeah. I think like with Matt's point with the money and the loans and everything, it's like, especially with the amount of money on marketing and things, like you have to reserve your spots for stuff, you got to have your timing. Like they probably weren't ready to pay for more marketing after the fact and everything like that. Cause like, now it's the same reels that are left over that are running, as well as like other, and it's pretty scarce and everything. And with like No Man's Sky, after their release, their marketing went,
and here's
pretty
sparse,
and all their money went towards the game.
No Man's Sky, the guys behind that game though, it's what, a 12-man studio, if that.
Totally, yeah.
True.
Versus CD Projekt Red, which has hundreds of employees, including outsourcing to other vendors.
Like they sold No Man's Sky as like this massive, like and
absolutely. And you oversold it and under delivered. Yeah. In this case, you sold it, and whoever who's actually finished the game has said it's got some really good guts to it and really good heart to it. It just needs everything else to be fixed. I think there was a difference is No Man's Sky, they got it out and didn't realize just how bad it probably was, because they probably, on a 12-man team, you don't have the time to fully test it and everything. So, so we'll
on a next gen or last gen.
Jerry's playing it on PS5, and he's had some hard crashes with it.
On Xbox One Scorpio, and it's like it feels like, I know it's bad and it's broken, right, and like it's slow as shit, but it doesn't feel like that much different than, I don't know if you guys played like Dark Souls on Xbox 360. Like Blighttown was just broken. It ran at like 10 frames a second, and people just, it was awful, right? Or like Witcher 3.
You would know about that.
Or like on Witcher, it's just very like.
I'm surprised, Jared. I'm surprised you don't have a Dark Souls like big life-size replica statue behind you. You play all those games so much.
I know it's sick. It's a problem.
You have an addiction. You really do. You need help.
But I don't get that off from that stuff, I guess. Like I'm playing Cyberpunk right now, and like, I've had a lot of crashes and like it's buggy as hell, but I don't feel like it's that off from any of those games compared to like the reaction that the company's getting. Like people are just going after these guys with like guns blazing.
I think the reason they're going more guns blazing though is because they did release the PR, like the PR statement, and they did say, yeah, we knew it was broken and we released it anyways.
That's probably
it's a bad idea.
That's
at least, but I favor them for that, and rather than being all like, oh, we didn't know it was so bad. Like at least it's somewhat saying on the dev side, they know what they're doing. They were just, their hand was forced.
Yeah. So anyways, I want to talk about a little bit of happy news. So Fortnite, as much as I may not support Epic's business decisions and stuff like that, Fortnite, and I'll share the audio clip too, they released their new pack, which has Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and Taskmaster in it, but they did a very good, just a tribute to Chadwick Boseman and Black Panther. So I wanted to just kind of show our listeners that, and I think this is something I love what Fortnite is doing with some of this stuff, but just doing the whole Wakanda forever with it, I think was fantastic with that. I think what Insomniac did though for Chadwick Boseman was a little bit more though than just giving him a character and a little tribute video, because in Miles Morales, right, they named an entire street after him, Bozeman Way. They put the Wakanda embassy into New York City as a tribute. So it is fully living, breathing. But it's nice to see Fortnite do that, though. They didn't have to. I mean, they're all money grubbers. They just care about the money. So
that's where the money's at, you know, skins, loot boxes in the skins. You know, every little thing that just makes your character stand out a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens.
I don't like that little profit off it, like, you know, especially like people that have passed. It's,
I mean, if anything, add on to like a certain, like all proceeds go to charity towards colon cancer or anything like that.
Like a certain percentage, cool, but like, to profit off someone that has just passed, it's just like a little too soon there, you know. Like, it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, it's a tribute. And
we're going to profit off of it.
Yeah, we're going to profit off.
I mean, we all know what Chadwick Boseman meant to a lot of people and what he was doing in the background. And I mean, nobody knew he was fighting cancer.
I was totally surprised by that.
So
for 3 years, he was battling it.
And the fact that Disney is not going to recast Black Panther,
I think that's
which is good. Yeah. I think that's good.
And I think I tip my hat to Kevin Feige, Marvel, and Disney for not doing that.
Yeah, that's a big hit for them, you know, obviously, but that's gutsy, like, for sure.
You could probably do something where you kind of have his sister take up a mantle, so to speak, but not be Black Panther. But
right. I mean, especially in the movie, they destroyed the rest of the plants, so the legacy of Black Panther ends with
definitely.
Yeah, it does, and I think it needs to, though. I mean, Chadwick was bigger than the character, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's just you leave it alone, right? Because we know what Christopher Reeve meant for Superman, and as much as I love what Brandon Routh brought to Superman Returns as a homage to Christopher, is you can't replace Christopher Reeve. You can't. He is Superman, and I think they probably could have. I know they're all about bringing Justice League and all of that to the big screen, but I think for me, it's different seeing somebody other than Christopher in the suit. You know, Henry Cavill, decent job and everything, but he's not Christopher Reeve. That'd be like, honestly, it's like them recasting Batman the Animated Series, the original, and getting rid of Kevin, you know.
Oh geez, no.
You know,
such an iconic voice,
right? Or that's like, you know, Jay and Silent Bob, you just recast Jay.
Oh god.
You know, I mean, but that's the type of things. It's like you can't just recast somebody in a role like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do you think they might think of that possibility of doing one of those CGI deepfake kind of like replacements, or it's
they I don't think they will on this one, especially since they're so hardcore. We are not recasting. And you know, yes, they did it for Star Wars and stuff like that, but it was only briefly. I don't see you doing it for an entire movie. Now, speaking of, you know, doing a deep
Star Wars
stuff and Star Wars, let's talk a little Mandalorian.
Great job in Mandalorian.
Yeah, which is Jared and I've been kind of texting back and forth about this too. So Mandalorian season 2. Wow, what an ending!
Strong.
Such a good too, right? The whole season was good.
I think season 1 was great. Season 2, I thought, was even better. I loved how they did Ahsoka. You know, I think honestly, Jerry and I were talking about this last night because he wasn't going to make it, and like I think the lightsaber fight stuff with Ahsoka was better than what they did with Luke. Because Luke was just, I'm going to walk in, pull a Vader, kill some robots where they stand, and keep on going. Ahsoka actually had to show some ability. But that being said, the kid in me woke up when, Bo said there's an X-Wing inbound, one single X-Wing. And any fan of Star Wars knows there's only one Jedi that rocks an X-Wing at that time period, right? And that's Luke. And then when you see him walk up, you see the green lightsaber, you're like, that's got to be Luke. And then you see the gloved hand, and then And the fact is, Mark Hamill came out and said that is probably the best kept secret in Hollywood. Is the fact is he was working on that for last several weeks for that part.
Jeez, to keep something like that secret is just
the Return of Luke,
massive.
And it's such a huge deal with Mark because he specifically said like he was done with Star Wars after Ryan. I don't know if you guys watched his Antlet. He was like, never again. Like he destroyed Luke and like destroyed the mythology and mythos and all that. It was so good to like. I don't know. Dude, when I saw the X-Wing, like it was a tearjerker for sure because like I was so angry with what Ryan did to Mark and like it just kind of like really ruined some stuff for me. And
like, even Rise of Skywalker, they only did what they could to kind of have to fix it. I mean, they got the entire storyline got blown up, right? And they're like, well, what are we gonna do?
How are we gonna fix this?
And right, where are we 5 years after Return? Is that 6 years somewhere in there? Is that what the timeline is?
It's 5 years. Well, so the start of Mandalorian season 1 is 5 years after the Battle of Endor.
Okay.
So at this point, because I wanted to see timelines and everything, especially with what took place, is at this point, Ben Solo is 4 years old.
Okay.
So we are 7 years from the time he goes to actually train with Luke.
Yeah.
And by what was stated in Last Jedi, Ben was his first apprentice. So that means there's a gap of a couple of years on what is Luke really starting a Jedi Academy? Is he starting the academy and everyone's just he's not taking an apprentice? Like how is that piece going to be? I mean, Favreau has done a really good job of retconning some of the mistakes of the new trilogy and fixing it.
Favreau is amazing so far.
And as we've said before, give him the keys. Let him run the entire universe. And I know that Wonder Woman, 84 is getting kind of bombed by some critics right now, but I cannot wait for Rogue Squadron with Patty Jenkins. Because we need a really good movie for Rogue Squadron. That's all there is to it with that. But when you look at, the Mandalorian, right? So you've got Grogu. If you look at that, his reaction to R2. So, R2's been there through the whole thing, start to finish. And by that reaction, R2 and Grogu know each other from the temple. So the question is, and I know, Theo, you're kind of rewatching the movie, so I don't know if you've gotten up through Revenge of the Sith, but like...
Nope, I just finished Attack of the Clones.
Hey, what's up, Soldier? Shout out to the Soldier over here.
What's up, Soldier? Welcome. Hey, I want to welcome in Vixen Fauna and Cypher 8. Welcome on in, Crashing Game Night. Thanks for crashing with us. Anyway, so Jared,
Theo, you have
your thought?
Star Wars?
Sorry, what?
You haven't seen Star Wars? You're watching for the first time?
Not for the first time. It's a rerun, but it's been like 15 plus years since I've seen him, really paid attention to anything. Because whenever I hear just Matt and Jerry going off, I know none of these details and everything, and I'm just going through and seeing some of these recent videos TikToks and comparisons. It's there was a TikTok of comparing the fight scenes between we went to this from this insane lightsabers fights to the recent trilogy. It's just whoop, that's it. It's and then I'm rewatching, it's oh my god, this is freaking amazing. I'm a kid again. I need this, and this is completely destroying Rey for me because I love Rey. But
I want to say, dude, Soldier rated us I want to say thank you so much for bringing your
Yes, thank you, soldier.
your peeps on over
Dang.
here.
Finally,
to
this
all of
man
you
looks at the
guys.
chat. Soldier, come on, you gotta
Hey,
call him
watch
out on
this.
this next
Hey,
time.
I'm trying to pay attention here, soldier. Okay, we got to keep this going here, and leave it to soldier to take it off the rails. Leave it to soldier to take this thing off rails. But here's my thing: is I want to know who the Jedi was that saved Grogu. I really do.
Right.
Ooh.
Because I don't
original
because you know.
I thought they were gonna weave in the Kyle Katarn stuff. Like, isn't that kind of like, because like the one scene from like 2 episodes ago, I thought was that base that you start at in Jedi Outcast 2, right? It looked almost identical to it, where you're like shooting you land and there's like the gun tower up on top, and then I think that's where this story is kind of wrapping around, is it not?
You know, I haven't played that one in so long, and I looked at it being on sale this past week, and I almost bought it to play back through it. You know, and yes, soldier, it wouldn't be a crashing game night without your shenanigans. And yeah, Mallory in a couple of weeks wants an explanation on why you kind of ditched Madam M. Just saying. But you know, it'd be interesting if it is Kyle that is the one that saved him. You know, it depends on if, you know, Kenobi found him in the closet or whatever it is. But I'm anxious to see where it goes. But I really think that in season 3, I think we see Mando go get Grogu.
What
So,
did you think of Cara Thrace?
What now?
What'd you think of Cara Thrace in there?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, everything with that. You know, I don't know. I'm still processing that whole thing. You know, especially with the fact is, I think the other thing I'm processing is to how much Moff Gideon was afraid. The second he heard it was an X-Wing and a Jedi, he about was like, I'm screwed. Because this is the boy that destroyed not one, you know, he helped destroy 2 Death Stars, killed the Emperor. As far as the Empire knows, it was Luke that killed him.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, this is like the mythical unicorn showing up.
I mean, it's like,
and then we got
track, man. I mean, the only thing that, if you think about like the Star Wars universe and like the hardcore fans, like what is the stuff that everyone wants to see that no one has ever seen? And it's like that Vader scene at the end of Rogue One, that like 2 minutes of like magic. It's like everyone wants to go see Vader like destroying the universe. They want to see him like raising hell and like doing what he does. We've heard about it, we've just never seen it. Same thing with Luke. We want to see Luke like at the peak of his powers, like doing all the stuff. We've never seen any of this kind of stuff. Like Ryan killed him and we were done. Now Disney's like, okay,
agree.
We're coming back. And like,
I agree. We need the DBZ, the Dragon Ball Z moment in Star Wars with the total OP everybody wants to see.
Every Kaioken times 10 for everyone. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you, brother.
I was hoping that we would see Ezra though too, because I mean, there's very few Jedi left. Cal's another one. So we'll see. But then we got a good surprise too. Boba went and took out the rest of the Hut, the Hut crime syndicate.
That's true.
I was surprised to see that dude on the chair. I don't remember his name right now.
Ben Fortuna. Yeah, it was like I don't remember who it was that I was talking to. I think I texted Jerry about it, and it was like, I'm like, dude, Bib Fortuna got fat. Like he straight up like, I want to know how he survived the sail barge exploding too, because he was there on the barge.
Well, how did
blew up in Return of the Jedi?
I mean, I'd like to know that. How'd Boba get out?
And I would love to know that too, because I mean, that is part of like the Legends series of books. You know, when they bought Lucasfilm, brought it in, they said, hey, all these old stories like Dark Force Rising, Heir to the Emperor, all that is all like Legend series and not canon anymore. Right. Which I think is kind of funny. Grand Admiral Thrawn is now like the looming big bad on the horizon. And but seeing Boba Fett kind of take up the chair, it makes it really interesting what we're going to see with Book of Fett or big book of Boba Fett rather at Christmas, and then Mandalorian is going to be early 2022 for season 3.
And I want to know, everyone keeps standing on the stupid sliding floor in Jabba's palace. Like the guys that know that they're standing, like Boba knew that was, everyone knows that that's crap. How many people have been into that pit? It's insane.
Right? I mean, but there's not a Rancor down there anymore.
I mean, there's probably something down there.
Probably, but
the remains of other people just eating each other.
Well, the Rancor just died, right? I remember 4 or 5 years ago.
Fighting to stay alive.
Staying alive, we'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And I think honestly though, that with Favreau and what he's done with the Mandalorian, though, it has reawoken that lost love for Star Wars that I had.
Dude, people are
because everything that Disney was doing, right? Granted, I really love Rogue One. Solo was enjoyable, but doing that every movie or every year movie thing was just oversaturating it, and just it was forcing it down your throat, and I lost some of the love for it. I really did. But yeah, Mandalorian has brought back a lot of that love.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of the consistency, or because the movies weren't that good?
Both for me.
Honestly, for me,
as a
go ahead, Jason.
For me, as a non-hardcore Star Wars person, I love watching the movies and enjoying the story, but the last 3, 7, 8, 9, it's just like you see the rise and fall of all the Jedi and everything like that, but then this last series, this last trilogy, is just nothing but like
it was a rehash.
It was but I mean, like, it just seems so like coincidentally perfect. Like, especially like Rey's only training for like what, 6 months or something like not that long, and she just like instantly a master. Like she just can wield like the best of them, and insight like no tomorrow, have force powers with.
Well, I think with that part though, with her though, is when they introduced this, and I think they could only do what they could for Rise of Skywalker, but she's a Palpatine.
Yeah, but I mean, still,
and
there is
Palpatine's one of the big bads on the Sith side.
I get that there's natural talent, but it's just like it's like beyond genius level. And
well, I think to your point, Jason, with like Rise of Skywalker, right? It's all of a sudden, I can transfer my essence.
Yeah, it's just like, I can do this. Oh, I didn't know I can do this. Oh, let me go drink this glass of water, and I can freaking destroy a planet. I don't know. Like,
I think Jared, to your question, right? And I think part of it was the fact is they basically threw everything into Legends, right? Because that Timothy Zahn trilogy is an amazing set of books.
Yeah. That
honestly, Lucasfilm had a blueprint for the sequels right there. They could have adapted it, right? But then I think with Force Awakens, on just how much of a almost carbon copy of New Hope it was, starting out on a desert planet, finding somebody on the planet to help you. Insert Rey for Luke, right? You have BB-8 as R2 and C-3PO as the stand-ins, right? As the droids on the planet that have secrets. Star Killer Base is essentially a Death Star in a planet. You got to destroy it too. You got to hit it the one singular spot, and whatnot. So I think it was too much of a carbon copy. And Disney seemed to basically go, hey, we're going to try and capitalize on Star Wars as absolutely much as possible. And we're going to forget some of the storyline and just kind of go with what we want to do. But the Mandalorian woke up that love I have.
And I think you're right.
Can we just point out with Mandalorian that I think that, like, since I was talking about the fight stuff between the most recent trilogy, I think Favreau did such an amazing job with the fight scenes throughout the entire season, first season and this season, because like you have such a range of different types of doing fight scenes, especially with like the last episode for this season, but like the very first pilot episode with the standoff with the droid and everything. Like, whereas if you look at and if you look at like the fight scenes with the most recent trilogy, they're so lackluster. But even like with Rogue One, it was so overdone that you can't appreciate anything. This is where it's so perfectly done. You can appreciate the little details in the fights.
I think, you know what, Theo, you brought it up earlier today when we were texting back and forth when I was telling you about the lightsaber blade that I ordered and you helping me actually settle in on the hilt I went with. But like you talked about the lightsaber sequence between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, and just how fluid and just how really well done it was compared to what the lightsaber battles are now.
Right.
Well,
so,
which
yeah, so
and it's true though, right? I mean, if you like followed the canon and read all the books and like you're following along, like these new Jedi like don't have anyone training them, right? It's like they don't have the force skills. They're all kind of like picking it up as they go. And I think to your point, Matt, like 7, looking back, like it really is a carbon copy and kind of shitty now. But like I think if 8 and 9 would have been better and like taken the story somewhere like consistent, made sense, and 7 would have been a great like passing of the torch moments. Like this is the end of all these guys. Here's the new generation. Like we're moving on, and that's what I thought that movie was supposed to be. And then like 8 and 9 came in and just like destroyed everything, so it didn't even matter anymore.
Yeah,
it didn't matter.
I mean, it would have been nice to see like Poe actually have an actual legit squadron.
Yeah,
you know, it not just, oh look, it's Poe, like it's this legendary X-wing pilot now. You know, it would have been nice to have a rogue, like a rogue type squadron with him, but not, you know. And then at the end too, it was like with Rise of Skywalker, that last battle where, you know, Lando shows up with everybody. It was like, that was, let's take every notable Star Wars ship in the entire universe and put it in one scene. And I think that was kind of overdone, you know, to me. I mean, now to case in point though, is Kyle Katarn's ship was in there.
Yeah.
You know, the Outrider was in there. So I think, you know, from Shadow of the Empire, I think that, you know, so to your point, Jared, is like, could Kyle have been that one that saved Grogu? I mean,
dude, it'd be sick if we got Dash Rendar and Prince Shizor and all that kind of like crossover and like that culture stuff on the side. That, you know, I like all that stuff. I think it's cool.
So before we kind of move on to like our year with gaming and stuff like that, is real quick. One of the names that's been floated out there for Thrawn is Benedict Cumberbatch. Yay or nay?
I'm a fan. I like Benedict, so I'm into him.
I'm a fan of Benedict as an actor. I don't know about.
Yeah.
I am not familiar with the character, to be honest. But
Thrawn is basically Thrawn is a bad ass admiral that is extremely smart. Honestly, think Khan with
and
blue
Cumberbatch
skin.
did great with Khan.
I mean, and that methodical thinking, that's Thrawn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then yeah, I'm all for it because I love Cumberbatch.
I do too.
So if you go off of the Dark Force Rising and Heir to the Empire series with Timothy Zahn when he introduced Thrawn, it was such to the point that how good Thrawn was that he took the New Republic and put it on its knees. Like just him in the fleet, the Imperial fleet. He was that good. He was striking, you know, going after the Dreadnought fleet, the Ghost fleet. You know, granted he was working with George Seaboth, but I mean, he was very calculating and he was striking the New Republic in places that even in the new trilogy, how they have the resistance, no offense to the new trilogy, but Thrawn was better at what they did. He didn't need this whole grand new order or anything like that. He just basically said, screw you, we're going to start rebuilding and I'm going to enslave worlds. We're not going to blow them up. I'm just going to bring back the old empire. So
guys, like one little quick question. Do you like the newest trilogy better than the prequels or not?
Since I'm rewatching them, no.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
Because I'm more of like in an action field versus story. I will admit that I like the story on the most recent trilogy more than the prequels, but the action scenes is way better in the prequels.
Jason,
Well, if I had to choose between watching 1, 2, 3 versus watching 7, 8, 9,
Exactly.
I would have to go 1, 2, 3.
can I skip 2?
No, you have to watch 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I mean,
That's why I said 1, 2, 3 versus like
I have to, and that's why I want to preface that, Jared. Are
but,
we
I mean,
are we including one like
you have
2
to
in
watch
this because 2 is horrible.
2 is the worst one. You take the hit because 1 and 3 make up for the
I would have
7
to say, at
they
least
died.
in 2, Matt helped me with this. There was some key information needed
and
to understand things in 2.
Plus, because it leads up to the 4, 5, 6, it's so necessary.
You know it's going to get better.
You know it's going to get better. You need to know why they're at war. Why is this going on? 7, 8, 9 is just it literally just piggybacked off the Star. Like, if you didn't have Star Wars as a name, it could have been its own trilogy, like separate.
So here's the thing: is with Phantom Menace, George Lucas gets a lot of flack for it, but he had to set up an entire universe with one movie.
No, but I mean, like,
now, granted, was it a great setup with Jacob Lloyd as little Anakin? No, because the kid can't act. I mean, we saw that with Jingle All the Way.
But I mean, you'll have the prequel. You have a prequel because it sets up for the good part. You know.
Yeah. And
7, 8, 9. There's like bits and pieces here and there.
Like it's all downhill from here.
But it is
right.
It is just the end, and you're just like, I'm watching it only because it is a Star Wars movie. It's finishing it off. Now that 9 is over, it is done. There's no way they're ever going to have a 10 because it just got shot to the ground.
Right. And I just wanted to in chat, Evan CZ the Hunter, welcome to Crashing Game Night. You missed Soldier. Soldier had to bail. Thank you though to everyone that stuck around from Soldier's
from the raid
stream 52. From the raid, coming over to hang out with us and stuff tonight. So here's my thing though, is you do 1, 2, and 3 is better than 7, 8, 9 because you get to see just how truly manipulative and powerful Palpatine really is. You know, honestly, I think it kind of was a cop-out to basically make Palpatine kind of back as a clone or whatever he is at the end, but to actually see how manipulative he really is. And I often wonder though, really is, and a lot of people have kind of made the joke about it is, but you know, Jar Jar, you know, a lot of people have said, is he Sith? And you know, it would be one of those things that it wouldn't surprise me though if they had a chance to really flesh things out, if maybe he was, just because Jar Jar is the one that makes that step, or is it just that he's so weak-minded that he can manage with everything? So
is he weak-minded point, or the most
bumbling idiot ever?
Sly. No, the most sly manipulator ever.
Oh yeah.
Nobody notices.
That being said though,
put your guard down.
I love 1 for one reason and one reason only. They gave us the baddest ass Sith, you know, with Darth Maul.
Which he's still alive in the books too, right? He's like comes back with the robot legs, or I don't know if you read that.
Yeah, he came back for Rebels, the actual animated show. He came back with
they teased him in the Solo movie.
He is in Solo. That's him at the end.
I didn't hate that. I thought Solo was better than 7, 8, 9. Personally, like I enjoyed it more.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it wasn't attached with episode 7, 8, 9,
hey, I feel like
something
7, 8, 9's hole is just getting deeper and deeper as we talk.
Yeah,
I never in my life thought that I would say like I enjoy these prequel Star Wars movies more than another Star Wars movie.
You know, I started watching it though, and you know what though, that pod racing scene, that whole sequence was great. Yeah, from a cinematic CG standpoint. So.
Jared, we'll see are you on the 1, 2, 3 versus the 7, 8, 9?
I was gonna say, man, like I never thought, like when I watched episode 1, because I was just, I think we were in high school or something, and like Star Wars was coming back. We camped outside the theater. I was one of those. We had a tent. Like, man, when I walked out of that
And
theater,
the
I
second,
felt disappointment like that in my, and I watched it like 5 times,
Yeah.
right? I went back, I was like, it wasn't that bad. No, it was that bad every time. Right? Now I'm like, God damn it, Ryan, you found a way to make episode 1 palatable. Thank you. All right.
Mhm.
So sadly, I think I'd take the prequels. If like the Ryan Star Wars wasn't part of the trilogy, I think I would take 7 and 9 minus whatever 8 is. But
And here's the thing: is I don't know if he's still going to be doing that new trilogy or not, because
apparently
he was signed on to do a new trilogy altogether.
Yeah, I heard he's not. I heard that he was like not at all involved with it.
I'd be okay with that. He can go. He can go.
Let's start a petition. No Ryan Star Wars ever again.
Right. All right. So speaking of Star Wars and everything, let's talk about our games that have come out this year that have been what we've enjoyed in 2020. Because we had Jedi Fallen Order came out this year, which I thought was a fantastic game and probably one of the best Star Wars games ever made. But Jared, I want to start with you. When you look at your 2020 gaming year, what are the games that have stood out to you that have been your favorites that you've just played constantly? And let's take the Dark Souls games out of the equation, because we know you go back to those all the time.
Yeah, well, Hero came out with DLC finally, so that was a whole life.
Right.
No, I mean, I spent infinite time with the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I think everyone that probably played Final Fantasy did. And I only hated it because I love those games so much, right? Like if it was just a game that came out, I would be like, okay, this is okay. But I had my expectations were so high for Final Fantasy VII, and they were dropped like, whew. But
you
I mean,
played the original, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Sense. It makes sense.
So high because I have hundreds of hours in like thousands of hours probably in Final Fantasy through all of them. Yeah. But I think Doom, like that series, that whole revival has just been amazing for me. Like I don't even remember the name of the newest one was, but I played on Switch. That was great. I loved the Mega Man re-releases. Like I played all the Mega Man Zero, ZX re-releases. I thought those were great. Did you guys play Hades on Switch?
I have not played that yet, and I've heard it's really, really good though.
It's amazing. It's like probably one of the best games I've played.
Right? Like I haven't played it myself either, but like just watching people play it, it is an interesting concept, and I'm down to probably pick it up.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Like I highly recommend. It was one of the best games easily of the year. I think the Resident Evil remakes have been amazing. Like we were talking about 2 previously because they came out last year, but I did 3 too. And like I really like the Capcom put the time in and like made those games something new. Like I'm a hardcore Resident Evil junkie too, and I've played all of those games so many times through. And so going through them, like I'll do all the HD remasters again anyways, but like when they actually put new content and kind of twist things up a little bit, I think that's really exciting. And they did a great job with 2. They did a great job with 3. Ghost obviously is probably one of the best games of the year. I've been playing that, just to preface, I think all of the comparisons to Sekiro are ridiculous. They're not the same game. They're not even the same universe, right? I mean, Ghost is like
Sekiro Mesta.
Yeah, but Ghost isn't Sekiro. Like I read all these reviews and they're not the same game. Like Ghost felt like Breath of the Wild meets like God of War to me, and Sekiro is like whatever that is. But I mean, those are kind of the ones I've been playing. I love the Ori games. I've been playing the Wisp. I probably put 100 hours into those games. That was probably like the biggest games I've been playing this year so far. I didn't play Assassin's Creed or any of those kind of releases, but I don't know. I would say play Hades, man. Like that game's amazing. And Ghost were probably my tops for the 2020.
Jason?
And
I do not hold on. I'm going to preface this. Do not utter the words Division 2 out of your mouth.
No. I mean, like,
14. Or FF14.
Theo? No. No, like my year in gaming isn't just. It's been weird. Like I've been picking up a lot of more of those like one-off games, or those games like I really got into Among Us for a little bit. That game just, no matter what, it's always fun to play. And especially during this COVID life, it was just like spot on. Here and there, I do pick up Killer Queen Black. Me and Theo both played it one time, a couple times. and I still just try to pick it up, you know, here and there, pick up random pickup groups. Yeah, have I played any really like Game of the Year award winning ones? No, like I still have Ghost just chilling. I have Last of Us 2 chilling. Like I've been behind because of awards I cannot say.
And I supplied you with copies.
Yeah, and because I am working on games that I've been prohibited from talking about.
That's right.
You, sir, are a traitor on one of those, and our listeners.
It's mainly because we knew it was going to be on the top of your list.
Yeah. Other than that, though, you know, like, yeah, just.
So for those, so people that are, you know, catch our live stream for the first time and whatnot, and Jared catch you up on this. So this man.
Oh,
no. I'm gonna call you boy right now.
Boy,
man.
sir. Boy.
Decided to
man
shun
child.
Jerry and I every time we'd say, go pick up Division 2, come play with us. Especially when it was dirt cheap for like $5 a copy for the disc, right? So Jerry and I decided we moved on from Division 2 this year. Me, for one, just with the new baby and stuff like that, it just playing an online only game, it's really hard because the baby's going to take precedence, you know, and you know,
you gotta pause.
But so what does this guy go and do? His coworkers say, hey, come play Division 2 with us. And what's he do? He goes and plays it with them.
Oh, and how many times did they ask you, Jason, to join?
You know,
Once.
I don't know why I'm being persecuted like this, like all the time, sir. You guys need to play some Final Fantasy 14. That's what you guys need.
I have.
We'd be half
And
a
I want to
raid group,
say,
sir.
if I were to fire it back up, I think my Dragoon is at 20. Oh, it's at 25. It's been that while. It's been a long while.
You know,
there's been what 4 expansions?
road
since
to
I
70
played?
buff, sir. There's a road to 70 buff. You can get that probably within less than 4 hours.
Yeah.
You
Anyways,
know, a fraction of that Animal Crossing
Fraction of that.
time. You know, give me 15 minutes. We'll get you there.
I mean, that Animal Crossing time is 650 hours. So,
Oh, sir.
Insane.
See, Jared, and they're persecuting me. Like, I'm playing with coworkers. I'm trying to build some relationships with my coworkers.
I have 600 hours in Dark Souls, so we need to talk, okay?
yeah, I'm just like Animal Crack. No.
I mean, I and to be sad, me being the one that was not looking forward to Animal Crossing, I'm actually up there with Matt. I'm checking it right now. I'm at 665 hours.
Okay, I've never played an Animal Crossing game. Like, is it that good? Do I need to, like, tap
It is Animal Crack. I mean, it literally. I mean, that's been its nickname going back to the GameCube. Is Animal Crack. It is because
by far the best, like, mindless thing that you can be creative with.
No,
and that's like the best way I can describe it.
There's not even like
there's no grinding.
Fights at the Let me go fight a boss.
That's the thing. There's no grinding.
It's only grinding.
It's mindless.
Sir.
No, it is not grinding. No, it's just
only grinding.
Because
what are you doing?
Grinding, you're doing the same thing to go for a goal.
You
Whereas with Animal Crossing, you can stick to whatever the hell you already have and just improve your island. You don't have to grind for tree branches and shake every freaking tree.
But how you gonna pay for your island? How you gonna pay for your island?
My fossils.
You pick up weeds, sir.
Yeah.
Turnips.
And what is picking up weeds?
Turnips.
That is grinding, sir. That is the key definition of grinding. Like,
yeah.
At least if I grind on Final Fantasy, I'm like, hey, I gotta beat a boss. Or if I'm in Division 2, you know, I'm grinding. I gotta get some shade watch points. You know, like
1 round you'd be dropped. Anyways, moving on.
But don't do it, Jared. Don't do it, man. Like if you want to see what it's like, just find somebody that actually has Animal Crossing. Like, hey, like how's Animal Crossing? They'd be like, dude, it's too addicting. It's like Jerry's Red Dead.
I did forget my game of 2020. Obviously, is Demon Souls. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. But I was avoiding the FromSoft love. But
I mean, we know you've played it 5 times this year, Jared.
No, the
At
remake
least.
on PS5.
Oh, the remake on PS5, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I would have allowed you to have that, but it's like you and your addiction to all the From Software games. It's like every time I log on, half the time
Breath
it's
of the Wild
it's
for adults. It's like
right.
competitive Breath of the Wild, I guess. I don't know. That's what it feels like.
It's
the grind-
realistic.
So
Because you
Theo.
get hit twice, you done.
I'm gonna stick with just the games that like I would actually load up during my lunch hour. So obviously one is the 665 hours on Animal Crossing. Last of Us Part 2 was definitely the quickest game I've ever completed because I definitely made sure it's like I'm taking my lunch hour. I might do an hour and a half just so I can get through this chapter. And I've been really enjoying Destiny 2 again. So I've been really enjoying that with the Beyond Light. It's still repetitive as hell and everything, but like I'm typical millennial. Beyond Light gives me those instant gratifications every freaking day. I'll take it.
Are any of you guys playing No Man's Sky?
No.
I have been tempted
It is so good.
to
Man. It's
fire
amazing.
it back up and actually see it with the PS5 update to it.
I've seen some playthroughs of it, and it looks amazing.
Looks
But
amazing.
I don't understand the premise of it.
The premise is just infinite exploration, right? You just fly around,
Okay.
look at planets, and build. It's like Animal Crack, but for like galaxies.
Peace.
Yeah.
Lots of
And
items.
more resource intensive, trying to find stuff and whatnot. But
But they definitely fixed it. Like it works now. It's real multiplayer. There's an economy. It's good. Finally.
dude, actually some players found the center of the universe. And it black holed them into other places. Yeah, there was this thing
to die. At this
Well, there was this.
How long,
yeah,
how long,
it was a
how
big
long did it
thing.
take to get to where it's at, Jared? Like,
I don't know.
Ooh.
When did it originally release?
Like when you do the Atlas storyline.
no,
Right.
I mean like to where No Man's Sky is, because I know like
Oh, dude, it's like 10
10
years, I think, literally.
It
10 years?
released
No, like
No Man's Sky released August 12th, 2016.
Okay, well, it feels like 10 years.
yeah,
It feels like 10 years for that game. Absolutely.
4 years ago.
Um,
God dang. But I mean like 4 years. So I mean Cyberpunk, we might need to check it out in 4 years. You know, like
2024, it'll be great.
it'll be closer to 2077. Maybe that's what they're going for, man. You know, like
You just live the game.
you got
They
you got
finally
to
they,
get to
they
that
finally tell you to
year.
stop playing and just go outside and live it.
You got to get to that year, Cyberpunk 2077. You got to get to year 2077. It's going to be the best game ever. You know.
yeah. So my game wise, Ghost of Tsushima is my game of the year. Just from mechanics, storyline, but I mean, from a mechanics standpoint, it's Horizon, it's Uncharted. It's got a lot of those elements into it. The story is fantastic. I spent more time doing photo mode in that game than actually playing the game, probably. I love what they did it for photo mode and how it was before Miles Morales launched. It was the closest thing to real photography gear I could work with, you know, from all the different mechanics. Now with Miles Morales, which is my second game of the year, you know, you can actually place lights now and really change the lighting and whatnot with it. Miles Morales just has the fight mechanics are smoother than they were with the original Spider-Man game. It's stunning. It's beautiful. The ray tracing is fantastic. Honestly, playing that game at 60 frames per second with a new update, I cannot go back. So, you know, I don't know how long I've lived without 60 frames per second, but now I know it. Last of Us and Animal Crossing were my like 3A, 3B type things. Last of Us, I really enjoyed it, but there were some components of it that I thought were well overboard, especially with some of the violence and whatnot. Animal Crossing, it's funny. It allows, you know, it just like allows my wife and I to do some things. Like she needs stuff for our island, vice versa. You know, she is probably that like quote unquote that 1%, because like she's got like $12+ million in the bank. Yeah, it's ridiculous when she drops $2 million on turnips every week, and then I'm only dropping like 500K. You know,
more and more.
I've even moved away
grinding.
from turnips. I've just been banking on those pumpkins, dude. That's it, just pumpkins.
Yeah, but no. So like Astro's Playroom, I think was probably the best packing game for any console launch.
Agreed.
Even going back to
100%
Super
agreed.
Mario World. You know, Super Mario World's great, but I think there's just something about Astro's Playroom and everything that they did for the PlayStation fans. You know, especially when you have that the Buster Sword just sitting there like it was the original start screen for the game back on PS1. Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, it's been a great year for gaming, and
it actually has.
And it has, and it's been under extreme stress for the devs.
Definitely.
And and I want to say this to all the devs that have brought us these games, right? Thank you for everything you guys did for the gaming world, because not only, you know, did you bring joy to a lot of your fan bases, you know, and that's including with Cyberpunk, right? There's a lot of people that have absolutely love the game, still even bugs and all. But also too is like you gave people a way to get away from depression and anxiety, like a lot of mental disorders, because they had an outlet. And that speaks volumes for what you do. Now, certain companies' leaderships may have made some bad business decisions, but to the devs, we absolutely have to support them. Because it is a hard job to do, especially when you're not able to collaborate with your team in person.
Yes. Collaborating code in general is very difficult.
Yeah, on top of all the people that are just constantly barraging with
death threats,
whatever comments, you know, like you wouldn't have been able to have this like 15, 20 years ago, you know, and that's, I feel that stress, that pressure alone as well adds a lot to how the game goes, you know, like ironically, all these new games that are coming out that are mostly indie games are being like sourced.
Dude,
like,
it's been a year
stuff like that.
It's been a year for indies. I mean,
but at the same time too, like they're not being super harassed as like other games are, but these are the ones that are like destroying like actual like major league games. You know, I mean, like
to Jared's point, Hades, right?
Yeah.
Hades was in the running for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Now,
being
granted,
from an indie company,
did we really think the Game Awards was going to give it to Hades? I mean, come on, that's the Academy Awards always has that one little darling in Best Picture.
Long shot. Yeah, the long
shot. You know, that's never going to happen. But
the underdog.
Everybody that I know that has played Hades has said that thing is an amazing game.
And it should have been Game of the Year. I think it was. Like it just didn't get the love, obviously, because it's an indie game. But
right,
exactly.
Good.
But I
mean, at the
like,
same time, you wouldn't have really thought a game like Among Us would have won so many awards. It's so simple.
Speaking
compared
of
to anything else,
it came out almost 3 years ago. You know,
I'm gonna fall on my sword for a second. You know how Jason's been bugging all of us about Among Us?
Yes.
Yeah. Guess what I've been playing the last couple of days on the Switch?
Hey.
Among Us.
You can say it. You can say it.
Boy.
Yeah. It's okay. It's.
But you've been playing on the new map or no?
I've been playing on the Switch.
Yeah, it just came out on Switch not too long ago.
But did they release the new map too or no?
They are about to.
I don't know.
Ship. Okay.
So all I know is it's okay, and being the imposter is kind of fun.
It depends on who you play with too. You know, like if you get an actual group of like 8 to 10 people, just like Jackbox, just like Jackbox, if you get them all together, it's hilarious and it's fun.
So Jason, I want to let you know that Darren and I have been talking. We're gonna do Rupees and Crashing Game Night.
Among Us. Oh.
And here's the thing: is
man.
we're gonna have them set up their Twitch channel, to run the game video.
Okay.
And we're gonna do all the recording on the podcast on us, so you can actually see the facial expressions from everybody.
It's a little hard, man. You get that facial expression.
I don't care.
Can give it away. You can give it away.
I mean, because we're going to be talking about other things, our facial expressions could be to whatever we're talking about. So
exactly.
True.
So, anyways, but yeah,
especially with Jerry's face, his expression face is just going to be all over the place the entire show,
right? So,
as we'll easily know as soon as he has his devious face, we know he's the imposter. And then we'll know to report as soon as he's.
Yep. So as we close tonight out, Jared, what projects you got coming up? I mean, the last time you were on, you were super busy. You were collaborating all over the place.
That's kind of the same thing, man. Like it was a crazy, insane year for all of us. Obviously. Being stuck at home, pretty much in quarantine. I haven't had a haircut since March. It's getting kind of nuts.
Let it go, man. Let it go.
I'm just going, dude. I don't care.
Lions too, man. Just let it go, man. Just let the hair flow.
Tons of stuff going. Like it was I had some songs that did really well. I think you guys know. Like I signed this deal with Universal and kind of rebranded as Blazar under this like artist producer, and they've kind of really just opened up the world to me. Like they renewed me and they upstream me to tier 2 for this year, so now I'm like have a bigger team like devoted to me and tons of collabs.
That's huge.
I'm doing Afro Man's next record right now, like which is cool. I just
wait, are we talking like next record or
yeah, we're doing a whole thing
record?
Dang,
that's awesome, dude.
Congrats, dude. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I think we have some things going on with some other like kind of big artists I can't talk about right now, but maybe in a couple of weeks. It's like all lined up, and it's kind of insane, man. Like they gave me my own imprint label that's going to be underneath the Universal thing, and like everyone that I'm producing, working with, and collaborating with, they're going to release under this imprint label. That's going to be all like the Blazar stuff. So like I have my art.
Let me ask you this, Jared. Like with how all of this is now blown up, even since last time you were on the show, right? Did you think back when you started doing this years ago, did you think you would ever get to this point and having all of this?
Yeah, I mean,
I knew it was a dream. No, it's always a dream. But your realistic side of you, did you ever think you would be at this point?
Dude, I was in my residency program in Minneapolis finishing up my MD when I got my record deal. I'm like, I left and said, like I walked out. Like I obviously had no idea that it was ever going to go this way. I played music my whole life. I was always touring and like recording like everyone else does and like throwing stuff out and hoping. But no, I mean, I went to school and like had a job. I was working full time, and like I got the call from Warren, like, hey, you want a record deal? I said, yes. You want to come now? I said, yes. I've just been kind of running since then. And it's been a grind, dude. Like, no kidding. If you're in the music industry and you're not like independently wealthy, and I'm not talking about like a millionaire, like multi-millionaires, like the thing that people don't know is like almost the entire music industry. I would say like 97% of all the artists that you see here, love, know, that were discovered through the history of music all the way back into the 80s, most of these guys bought it. And it's all paid for. It's self-funded. These labels would like bring these millionaires on who wanted to be rock stars, because then there's no like loss comparison, right? It's like they're going to fund it. Everyone kind of walks away with it. And it's even that way now. Like most of the big indies are self-funded, independently wealthy people. So, my dad was an electrician. My mom's a banker, a teller, and my family were from a farm kind of thing. Like we weren't like millionaires by any stretch of the word. So it's been an insane grind. Like everything has been like tooth and nail, and just like small opportunity. Like people believing in me and letting me kind of keep moving along this thing. So no, I never thought in a million years, because I knew how the industry worked. And like when I got this Universal deal, especially in my 30s, that's everything about what I'm doing is doesn't exist in the music industry. It's kind of like this whole new model that they're moving towards of like independent guys like me who produce, write, mix, master, do the entire thing. Like this Afro Man record I'm doing from this room, right? It's like the entire thing is here, and it's going out on a major label, on the radio and movies and film and TV. And it's never had any.
So
crazy.
There is something that just jumped in chat from July Wire, which welcome to Crash and Game Night, said more Sith Wave.
Yeah. I'm
So,
slave, man. That's my whole vibe, and I'm glad that yeah, I love that shit, man. I've always like analog synths, and I've just kind of dove in deep. That's been my needle. Like that's the thing that like saved my life, I think, during 2020 because it was super depressing, right? It's like all of my tours were canceled, all of my shows were canceled.
well, because I can remember we were trying to sync up right there, what, March, April,
Yeah.
and trying to get you on. You were supposed to leave for Europe,
Hey, yeah, I had a whole like,
and we're like, well, we can't do the podcast now because you were supposed to be on. You're supposed to be going over to tour, and then all of a sudden,
no,
COVID starts canceling everything, and
got this like big record deal, and they booked all these huge festivals.
Yep.
I was planning this massive festival in the UK, and then gone. Just and even now they're like, we're not touring through 2021. So like the fact that they like invested in me in this kind of like writer, producer, artist capacity, you know, when they cut 70% of the label, like they only kept like 12.
Oh wow,
The whole thing.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like thankful every day, you know, that like they believed in me enough, and I've been working really hard now. All these kind of opportunities are coming in, and it's super exciting. You know, I think the next year is going to be a lot of like cool collaboration and fun. And like I had this Dax and a bunch of EDM tracks I'm doing, a bunch of synthwave stuff. I'm kind of doing some like hip hop stuff with some like big rappers, and like it's just cool. You know, I had no idea.
it'll be nice to see who you're working for
Well,
once that
coming soon.
other than Afroman, but you know, once that NDA lifts and you can actually speak to who you're working with, that would be, you know,
be really exciting to hear
that, man. And it's, you know, as always, Jared, I mean, you become a really good friend of mine. I mean,
you too.
It
guys.
just was a chance thing that you followed me way back in the beginning of this whole thing, and that's what makes this so special to see you succeeding in this, is because you've essentially been with us since minute one.
Well, it's
you know,
guys, like that's what drew me to it, because like I'm a hardcore nerd. Like we're all hardcore. When there's so
I don't even remember what post it was. You know, it was some post way back in the beginning of things that you ended up following us. I was like, okay, a musician's following us. Okay, cool. I'll follow him back. Then I started looking at your catalog, and I'm like, oh crap, download. I mean, you know, and then, you know, we've gone to the point where, you know, we'll just call and BS sometimes, you know, and just we'll text each other and BS sometimes and whatnot. And
we're all bros now, man. Like there's so many,
you know, and you are
people, like guys that don't game, or like just bullshit their way through it. And like we love it. Like we're passionate about it.
We love it. And
that's the best part. Like there aren't a lot of, I think it's important for the community, for people like us to get out and really like talk about this stuff and dive into it, because
we are, I mean, face it, we are nerds at its core. I mean, whether it's Star Wars, DC, Marvel, gaming, it is us, you know, right? And I mean, you look at even our rooms and you walk into it, I mean, Theo's got an entire wall of pop figures.
I do.
I mean,
I do.
You know, now that I finally have gaming space, I have, you know, my figures and stuff out. Like I have my own little space again in our apartment. And, you know, and the fact is, like, hey, my wife thought enough of me getting my love for Star Wars back that she got me a lightsaber. So that's going to be going up on the wall and whatnot. And we are nerds at its core. And
definitely.
But that's what I love. And that's what I this year, more so than last year. Last year was great. And to our listeners or followers, you know, that have been there since the beginning too, you know, we do love you, because you guys have stuck with us through all of this, right? And you've allowed us to get to the point where, you know, year one was a nice stepping stone for us, but this year's been huge. And sticking through us, the fact is we've been able to get, you know, Jared on when he's, I mean, heck, I mean, look what you're doing, Jared. I mean, really, I mean, you should really probably be editing right now.
Should be working
and mixing, but you're here. But, you know, we've had the FF7 guys on, and, you know, and we are growing. And the fact that, you know, this year we've almost doubled our listenership over last year. And I can't thank everybody enough for sticking with us, because it means the world to us. I mean, personally, I don't care if we ever make money off this thing. It would be nice, but to me, being able to bring joy to people's lives, especially in the year of COVID, and make people laugh and smile, and and be able to give them gifts like having the voice actors on from FF7. You know, a lot of those people would never be able to meet them because, I mean, of course, cons are gone right now.
Yeah.
Well, there's no PAX East, there's no E3. You know, to have them on, like, to be able to repay kindness, like with Strifers that we had on last week, right? She had entered in a contest to get an FF7 copy that we were giving away because her sister's family lost their jobs because of COVID. And it was something that they really wanted to experience together. So I was like, you know what? That alone right there, just for what you're doing, that act of kindness, because it's not for you, it's for somebody else. And we return that kindness by having her on the show.
Definitely.
You know, and the fact that I've been able to go on another show with Drew and the NVR Gaming, Tyler, who was a fan that was on with us, you know, it started off as he asked for advice. And that's the thing is, I think everybody right now, we have to lift each other up. You know, we're in such a doldrums right now as a world, as a country, with COVID and everything else going on, that we need to lift up everybody. And to me, as long as we're bringing joy and happiness to people's lives, I will not stop doing this.
Well, it's
well,
not
unless we're old and senile.
like
Was that, Jared?
not stopping
Yeah.
tomorrow. This is gonna go on for a minute.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
We're
gonna
not done.
life for a while. Like,
And
We have too much fun with this to stop.
yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, every guest that's been on this show has, you know, an open invitation to come back and just chill with us and just hang out and BS with us and stuff like that, which, you know, for our listeners and stuff that are Tester fans, next weekend is a Tester reunion. Jason,
Starting the
I'll
new
let you
year
know.
off right.
We're starting the new year off right.
man.
We're talking Scooter, Gamer, Christy Pride, Mo Chocolate, Sky Diddy.
Oh man.
So, but no, absolutely. But I just, like, you know, Jared, with all your listeners, like, you feel gratitude beyond belief that you're able to do what you do, and the same thing with us, right? So thank you to everyone that has stuck around, especially the fact that you've gotten us to this point where we're live streaming now. You know, this is something I never thought in a million years we'd be able to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought, you know, I thought, hey, we'll start up a podcast, we'll start a website and make it, you know, kind of at least make it legit. But hey, we're here now. And it's because of our fans and our listeners that have stuck with us, even if they've stuck around for a couple shows and that's it. But they've gotten us to this point that we can do this for you guys. And that's why we do these live streams now, is for the listeners, for the fans. So you can see, you know, when we have Jared on, when we have our guests, so you guys can actually at least have some semblance of actually being able to see them, you know, as we kind of do these things, interact and whatnot. And these things are only going to get better. So to those from Soldiers Raid that stuck around for this, thank you. You know, Soldier.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed.
Welcome to
right?
the
We
Crash
hope you
Game,
enjoyed this.
Crashing Game Night shenanigans.
You missed Jerry, but you know, he'll be back next week. So
He'll be back.
But anyway, so everyone, thank you. That stuck around for the live stream. For those that are listening to the podcast, guys, absolutely thank you for subscribing on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, or if you're going to the YouTube channel watching the videos afterwards. Jared, as always, it's great to have you on.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me, man.
You know, and have you on more, you know, whenever you want to, but you know, you've got things to do. You know, you got a record to make. So please make sure you hit that follow button on Twitch if you're watching us on Twitch right now, or subscribe on any of those podcast platforms, especially if you're new to the podcast. So thank you absolutely for crashing game night with us tonight. As I like to say, as always, please be excellent to each other. Stay frosty.
Definitely. Again, shout out to Jared. Thank you for coming in. Always welcome. Shout out to all the people that are out there listening to us, watching us. You know, hope you're all safe. You know, be aware, be social distant, be kind, rewind, wear your mask. In lieu of Jay's absence, support all facets of whatever support groups, you know, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ. You know, we're all quarantined, you know, for a lot longer than we expected. But, you know, hopefully the fog is clearing, hopefully. So we will get out of this. And again, thank you for listening to us. It is always a pleasure. One day I will return to the website.
Dude, you need to. You
One
have
day.
some fans of the Mobile Monday
know,
reviews that are still reading your articles, Jason. Come on.
I know. I need to come back, and perhaps that will be my New Year's resolution. But till then, I will definitely hope that you guys will enjoy the rest of the year. And until then, I'll see you next year.
Hey. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. TTFN. It's out for now.